Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
You're looking live at the Meadowlands racetrack in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where a crowd of over 25,000 is expected today for harness racing's premier event, the $1.5 million Hamiltonian. Its roots run deep through the long and storied history of American sports. Its tradition is rich with the champions of the past and present, both equine and human, who have helped shape the course of harness racing's ultimate prize. And even though this great American spectacle has evolved over time, from its humble beginnings in the most rural of settings to the international stage it occupies today in the media capital of the world, the dream of winning, of reaching the pinnacle of the sport, of producing a champion hasn't changed in nearly a century. The hard work, preparation, and planning for this day is done. What remains is the dream and the task at hand. For all the viewers watching around the world, the question is, who will be crowned champion of America's greatest trotting race? The answer lies ahead. The 87th Hamiltonian is next. The New York City skyline looms majestically just beyond the clubhouse turn here at the Meadowlands and provides the perfect backdrop for a day of racing that is unequaled in the sport. Yet, despite its big city feel and presence, a carnival-like atmosphere greets the thousands in attendance today. And the sights and sounds of a county fair fill the senses for both young and old. And what a day for a county fair and great racing action. Temperature 88 degrees. The track condition is listed as fast, making for some swift racing, I can tell you that. Hello, everybody. I'm Gary Seibel, and welcome to our coverage of the 87th Hambletonian here on CBS Sports Network. You know, today's racing program from start to finish is second to none. And over the next 90 minutes, we'll be bringing you 3 live races, culminating with the biggest and most prestigious race in the sport, the $1.5 million Hamiltonian. But up first, the Nat Ray Invitational, featuring the sport's best older trotters. And then it's the counterpart to the Hamiltonian Oaks, 3-year-old filly trotters. And then the Hamiltonian will take center stage. We take a look at the morning line odds for the Hamiltonian and last week's elimination winners, starting from the 3 inside post positions. Right now, I want to welcome in our broadcast partner for today, Dave Brower, 16 years, the morning line odds maker here at the Meadowlands, TV host, racing analyst, and handicapper. You've worn a lot of hats over the years.
I sure have, Gary, but it's been a whole lot of fun. And let me tell you, I'm just happy to be part of this today. It's harness racing's greatest day. We've got some tremendous racing coming at you over the next 90 minutes, and I can't wait for it to get started.
Well, as we said, 3 eliminations last week, top 3 finishers in each, plus the 4th place finisher with the highest career earnings made today's final. And Dave, unlike other years in the Hambletonian where we've had a standout performer, this year it's wide open.
It is a little bit different this year because harness racing fans have been downright spoiled over the past few years with some tremendous Hambletonian champions. How about that 3-year stretch with Donato Hanover, Dewey Cheatham and Howe, and Muscle Hill? It doesn't get any better than that. Now, this year's field doesn't have a standout quite like that, but it's a bunch that is deep and very talented. Here's Uncle Peter, and yes, he is a very deserving favorite, but he's far from an invincible one, even with 2-time Hamiltonian winning trainer Jimmy Takter and 3-time winning driver Ron Pierce in his corner. He'll have his hands full today with the likes of Market Share, who cost only $16,000 as a yearling, yet he was the fastest of 3 elimination winners last week with Tim Tetrick. And how about Knows Nothing? He's a Canadian invader for the deadly duo of Jeff Gillis and Jody Jamieson. He did not race last year at 2, but it just shows you how patience can sometimes pay off. And Archangel, he's based in Western New York, not exactly home turf for great Hamiltonian happenings, but he's got a feel-good story that we'll tell you about a little bit later on. One thing's for sure, Gary, we have a heck of a horse race today.
Now let's bring in the third member of our broadcast team, Justin Horowitz, host of the weekly harness racing show, Inside Harness Racing. Justin.
Thanks, Gary. Down here with co-owner of Uncle Peter, John Fielding. And John, this horse has taken you guys on a wild ride, but his name carries some special meaning also. Tell us about that.
Well, Uncle Peter is named after my late brother, Pete, who died 10 years ago this past year of leukemia. He got very sick and died in about 10 days, actually. So we really never have named a horse after him until this year, and his nieces and nephews all sort of wanted us to name a horse after him, so this is the one. And out of all these yearlings that we buy every year, this is the one that we chose, and sure enough, here he's at the big dance today.
Now here you are as the morning line favorite in the Hamiltonian. What do you think Peter, your brother, would say if he saw the hoopla going on with the horse named after him?
Well, let's just say he'd be celebrating beforehand, after, and during. He loved life, and he'd be having a great time.
Well, it'll certainly be a big party, and of course, John Fielding has 2 chances to win today. He's also the co-owner of number 7, Guccia. Gary?
Justin, thanks. And now let's bring in the fourth member of our broadcast team, covering her 6th consecutive Hamiltonian, one of the most recognizable faces in horse racing broadcasting, former jockey Donna Brothers, and she's standing by with Linda Toscano, who today, along with Julie Miller, looks to become the first female trainer ever to win the Hamiltonian. Donna, hello.
Hi, you're right. I am here with Linda Toscano, but before we get to the Hambletonian, we've got the Nat Ray Invitational, and Linda Toscano has the favorite in Chapter 7. You were surprisingly ran behind Mr. Herbie last time out. How do you turn the tables on him today?
Well, I think this is our home track, and I think we have to try to make it happen. Last week my horse the last start, he had 3 weeks off in between races, which is not always optimum for our kind of horses, and Herbie is a phenomenal horse also. He got the trip, and it was world record time. It was no embarrassment to get beat by him.
Yeah, he also trotted really well. But we've got to look forward now to the Hambletonian and market share. He's a horse who's been impressive in his eliminations, but maybe a little bit unlucky in the major final stakes. Has he made some of his own bad luck, and how do you change that?
A little bit, yes, and a little bit no. In the Dexter Cup, he threw a shoe, which is just one of those things that happen. In the up in the good times, he was too far back. So yeah, we have to be proactive. I think the fact that we got to pick our own post this time, we're going to be right in the hunt. That looks the way the race is going to go, and I expect with a trip, my horse will be right there.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Linda Toscano looking for a big day here for the Hamiltonian and the Nat Ray Invitational.
All right, Donna, thanks. We've set the table for you today, and we've got a full plate. Hamiltonian and the Oaks coming up later, but the Nat Ray is next. Welcome back to the Meadowlands in New Jersey for the biggest day in harness racing. Hamiltonian and the Oaks coming up later. You know, Dave, this is not just a big day at the Meadowlands. It has tremendous global significance.
Gary, the Hamiltonian is known as America's Trotting Classic, but it's truly an international event. You can bet on it in 15 countries around the world where it's being shown live. And last year, those countries bet almost $3 million on the day's races. International wagering has increased for 7 straight years. And for the first time this year on Hambo Day, there was an exhibition race under saddle. It's called Monty Racing, and it's very popular in France and the rest of Europe. It produced a thrilling finish here where you see Helen Gregory winning it by a head with Master Pine. Hamiltonian Day is also a smorgasbord for the bettors. It's a 15-race card. The pools are enormous. $9 million will be bet on these races today. And lastly, it's a family fun day. There are carnival rides and games for kids young and old. There's live music, the annual Hambo hat giveaway, a hat contest with cash prizes. Truly a little something for everybody. Gary, I've been to every Hamiltonian Day since 1983 when the filly Duenna won it for Stanley Dancer.
Let's take a look at the current odds for the Nat Ray Invitational, and the field of 8 has been reduced to 7 with the scratch of the outside horse, the 8 Sharp Edge. But even still, we have a great field here, very solid field, including a couple of real solid standout performers.
Oh, what a great rivalry we have brewing between Chapter 7 and Mr. Herbie. And we're going to show you a little bit of tape here. The last time these two great horses hooked up. Now, this was July 21st, the Maple Leaf Trot for $750,000 at Mohawk Raceway in Canada. Chapter 7 was 2-5. He's on the lead, but he met pressure. And here comes Mr. Herbie, who unleashes a powerful rally. Watch this. Jody Jameson's going to drop his whip right there. The final time of 150-4 was a Canadian record. And here's Chapter 7 out on the racetrack right now. He is at odds on of 4 to 5. That means he will pay $3.80 for your $2 win bet. He looks perfectly relaxed under Tim Tetrick. In fact, he's so relaxed you see Tim's feet out of the stirrups. That's how you know you're behind a classy trotter.
Well, you know, a couple in here today. Big races for Linda Toscano, Chapter 7 being one. He was 4th last year, as a matter of fact, in the Hamiltonian. And then there's Mr. Herbie, who with the win today, Dave, would become the sport's newest millionaire.
And the other, if he were to win, would be Hot Shot Blue Chip. But as for Mr. Herbie, he's campaigned by trainer Jeff Gillis and Jody Jamieson. These are 2 Canadian champions as well, both trainer and driver, and the same 2 guys who will send Knows Nothing to the gate in the Hambletonian. He's got a great chance not only to win here with Mr. Herbie, but also later on with Knows Nothing.
There are a couple of horses in here with the win that would become millionaires, but we also have a couple that already are millionaires, including this one, Daylon Magician, who had an incredible season last year as a 3-year-old, 11 victories and 17 starts, 4 wins and 7 outings so far this year. He has earned over $1.5 million, and he's a son of Cadabra, who's going to be well represented in the Hambletonian today with a couple of starters.
And Daylon Magician won this won the Canadian Trouting Classic. That was $1 million race last September, no doubt about that. He's got a new driver today. His regular pilot Jack Moiseev wasn't able to make it, so Brian Sears, a Meadowlands mainstay, will be aboard, and he won this Nat Ray in 2006 with San Vic.
Let's take a look at Hot Shot Blue Chip for trainer Jonas Zernson. John Campbell. Nobody's made more money purse-wise than Hall of Famer John Campbell, and the youngest driver ever to enter the Hall of Fame at the age of 35.
And Hot Shot Blue Chip is a talented but precocious 6-year-old. He finished 10th in the 2009 Hamiltonian after making a break, but he's got a very high turn of speed, and yes, he's reunited with Mr. Harness Racing. That's John Campbell.
All right, let's go to Donna Brothers to get a quick thought. Donna.
Well, the only thing I wanted to add is that one of the things that I love about harness racing is the longevity of these horses. You know, I cover the Hambletonian every year for the last 6 years. Chapter 7 was 4 years old now. We saw him last year, 6 years old, Hot Shot Blue Chip. We saw him in the 09 Hambletonian, but they're ready for a start, Gary.
All right, Donna, thanks so much. Time now to go to the top of the booth here, and one of the best in the business, track announcer Ken Workington.
All right, here we go with the Nat Ray Invitational, sponsored by Hanover Shoe Farms. $250,000. Chapter 7, the 4th, 4 to 5, the current favorite. And Mr. Herbie, arch rival, at 8 to 5. Great matchup here. Free for all trotters. The Nat Ray ready to go. Here they come, and they're off and trotting. Daylon Magician from the outside. Mr. Herbie's and Savruga being urged on out of there. The scramble's on for the early lead. Tall Cotton shows a bit of speed from the inside, but it's Daylon Magician from the outside who swoops down and takes the lead with Brian Sears as they round the first turn. Savruga will settle in the second spot. Chapter 7 is 3rd, and Mr. Herbie will slide in 4th in front of Tall Cotton 5th past the quarter. Then Hot Shot Blue Chip and Anders Bluestone, they settle in single file. 27-4, not a fast pace here. Daylon Magician, Brian Sears unchallenged lead now, and Tetrick gives the cue to Chapter 7. Up and at him, out of 3rd, up to challenge for the lead. Savruga's back to 3rd now. Gap at 2 lengths and a gapping Mr. Herbie is chased a bit in 4th. It's Tall Cotton 5th, the gap at 2.5 to Hot Shot Blue Chip, and 2 more to Anders Bluestone. Chapter 7, the 4 to 5 favorite, grabs the front end. It's the half in 54 and 3/5, 26 and 4. They hit the far turn. The pace picks up here, and it's Chapter 7 by 2. And Tetrick's got a handful here. Daylon Magician, the early pace setter, back to 2nd. Savruga 3rd. Mr. Herbie now underway, up and at him out of 4th. Now 3rd on the outside and gaining hard. Tall Cotton to the outside, 5th. Gap at 3 lengths to Anders Bluestone. And Hot Shot Blue Chip went off stride. Over 3/4, they square off here, the arch rivals. Chapter 7 on the inside. Mr. Herbie pours it on the outside. Daylon Magician looks for room. They're on the way home in the Nat Ray, 122 and 1. Fierce battle here, Chapter 7. Mr. Herbie on the outside, drifting out. Mr. Herbie appears to be flattening out a bit. Fighting back, Chapter 7 from the inside. Back at it, Mr. Herbie. Then Daylon Magician and Savruga. This chapter has a storybook ending. It's Chapter 7 in the Nat Ray, 150 and 1. New world record performance. Mr. Herbie was 2nd, then Daylon Magician and Savruga.
Home sweet home. Second to Mr. Herbie in the Maple Leaf Trot in Canada, returns to his home track, the Meadowlands, and puts that one away for a world record performance for driver Tim Tetrick.
What a performance today by Chapter 7, who took the bull by the horns, Gary. We weren't sure which of these two great 4-year-olds was going to be more aggressive out on the racetrack. Tim Tetrick made that decision on the backstretch, moving to the front to get some separation away from Mr. Herbie, and Mr. Herbie offered a gallant challenge on the outside on the final turn, but this time he was not able to get by. The trip was a little bit different from that Maple Leaf Trot, and that's all it is. As we pick it up turning for home, Mr. Herbie has taken his shot, and look at Chapter 7 dig in. Tim Tetrick has not even gone to the stick yet because I think he knows he's got plenty of horse left. Meanwhile, Mr. Herbie on the outside is drifting to the outside. You heard it in Ken Workington's call, and he is not going to be able to get by today. No gain from Daylon Magician sitting there in third, but it's all Chapter 7 in a world record performance.
Another look at the stretch, low-level look there, Tim Tetrick, and he knows at this stage that Chapter 7 is still strong on the front end, and I guarantee you he sensed that Mr. Herbie just didn't have what it took today to get to the winner's circle, and what a performance by this 4-year-old who, again, was 4th in last year's Hambletonian. This could be the beginning of a huge day for Linda Toscano, as she also has market share with Tim Tetrick in the Hambletonian. All right, we'll take a break and be back with the winner in a moment. We are back at the Meadowlands, where Chapter 7 has turned in a spectacular performance to win today's Nat Ray Invitational. As we take a look at the results, Dave, Chapter 7, obviously a short price going off as the favorite. Mr. Herbie also well bet. And Daylon Magician, no surprise to see him in third.
No surprise here by Chapter 7 or that price, $360 for your $2 here. That was his 15th lifetime win for the 4-year-old. It pushes his earnings $1.4 million, a world record performance and third driving win of the day for Tim Tetrick.
And a look at the complete order of finish in the Nat Ray as Chapter 7 outdueling Mr. Herbie. Sevruga wound up finishing 4th, was up on the pace early. Anders Bluestone, Hotshot, Blue Chip, and Tall Cotton round out the field. Right now, let's bring in Justin Horowitz, who's standing by with winning driver Tim Tetrick. Justin.
Here with Tim Tetrick, and Timmy, that was a monstrous world record performance. How much did you really have to get into this horse, and how much did he just do it all on his own?
You know, it was a horse race all the way, and I give this little guy so much credit. He's not very big, but he's got a big motor, and he tries all the way to the wire. And, you know, hands down to the connections. They've done a great job with this horse, and he's just an amazing animal.
This one's a little redemption for him because last year he was 4th in the Hambletonian, and he comes back a year later, and wow, what can you say about that?
It's just amazing. You know, it's full circle. He got his revenge today. Not as much money, but he got his revenge. And, you know, he's a well-deserved horse, and he deserves everything he gets.
Congratulations, Tim. And, of course, Tetrick will have the favorite in the next race. Check me out in the Oaks. Gary?
All right, so Tim Tetrick also looking at a big day today. He's got market share in the Hambletonian, and check me out in the Oaks. There's a look at the Hambletonian odds. That is coming up a little bit later, our featured event on the card. And really, nothing has changed a whole lot. Those odds holding steady, but as we get closer, I think things will change a little bit. Speaking of changing, we're changing races now. We're going to start talking about the Oaks, and the fact of the matter is that as in the Hamiltonian, where we have a wide open race, the Oaks not so much so. We have a big star and a legitimate rivalry, Dave.
Well, Check Me Out is a super filly, Gary. There's no denying that. But great horses of the past have often been pushed by arch rivals, and Maven is that foe. She handed Check Me Out her only defeat of the season when these two started their season back in May. No doubt about that. We're looking for the rubber match today, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, Hamiltonian Oaks odds. Let's see what the public thinks at this point in time as we get closer to post time. Superstar Hanover, really no surprise. Are you surprised at all at this point in time seeing Maven as a slight favorite over Check Me Out?
Without question, that is a big surprise. But I will point out there's only $11,000 in the win pool as I stare out at the infield tote board. These odds will change considerably, and I can guarantee you one thing. By the time they spring the gate for the Hambletonian Oaks, Check Me Out will be the favorite.
All right, there's a guarantee from Dave Brower. Love guarantees in the horse racing world. There's nothing like it. Matter of fact, just to show you how how close these two horses are. Obviously, right now, they're very close on the tote board, but if we go back to the Elegant Image Stakes in Canada, once again, you'll see how close they are.
What an epic battle royal this was. This is the Elegant Image, June 16th at Mohawk Raceway in Canada. Check Me Out has wrested the lead, but that is Maven right behind, hot at her heels. You see Tim Tetrick under full urging aboard Check Me Out, and she's going to hold on by a scant nose in 1:52.1, a stakes, track, and Canadian record. Now we advance to last Saturday in the Oaks elimination. Here's Check Me Out again. She was the 1-9 favorite. She put away the pace setter, but look at this. She wins under wraps in 1:53.4 for Tim Tetrick. He didn't move a muscle. And finally, Maven's Oaks elimination. It looks almost the same as Check Me Out. She attacks Win Missy B. She blows right on by, and she draws clear in 1:52.4. Win Missy B is going to hold second, and it's a long way, 11 lengths back to Personal Style in third.
And Dave, a look at Win Missy B. Now, Maven beat Check Me Out this year. Last year, it was Win Missy B that took that honor.
Yeah, it was a much tighter battle when these fillies were 2 years old last year. Win Missy B owns that distinction of a win over Check Me Out. That came in the Peaceful Way Stakes up in Canada. It's been different this year, but the one thing Win Missy B does have is extreme early speed. Watch for her behind the gate to see how hard she's fighting Brian Sears, because once she gets going, it's hard for her to relax.
Well, between the top two, Check Me Out and Maven, and then Win Missy B, speaking of her in third, basically, a lot's going to happen for this one, Personal Style, to come home with the glory in the Oaks, and the betting public feeling the same way, 36-1 currently.
That's too big of odds for her. She does have a chance in here. Why? Because she's the best of the closing threats. She likes the long stretch here at the Meadowlands, and her trainer, Nifty Norman, is no stranger to good trotting fillies. He trained Poof She's Gone, who was the favorite in the 2010 Oaks. She broke that day, Gary, but she went on to a great career.
Right now, let's head back over to Justin Horowitz. He's standing by with Check Me Out's trainer, Ray Schnitker. Justin.
Ray, you've got the super filly Check Me Out, 20 for 23 lifetime. They only get one shot in the Hambletonian. Why not race her against the boys?
I just thought like down the road it would be better for her health if we didn't get kinked in that race, even if she won. So I'm kind of looking for the longevity of the filly to keep racing.
Now, most trainers won't look to next week. You're already looking towards next year and the year after. What makes you so confident about this filly?
She's been super from almost day one, and every time she's been in a race, if they beat her, it's a fight. So I got great confidence when she gets older, she'll be very good.
Well, it's going to be a fight today against Maven, the rubber match of their trilogy. Gary, back to you.
All right, Justin, thanks so much. Great trainer and outspoken from time to time, Ray Schnitker. Hamiltonian up later, but the Oaks Post Parade is straight ahead. We'll be back. The 87th Hambletonian on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Hanover Shoe Farms. The all-time leading breeder of Hambletonian winners is the greatest name in harness racing. Welcome back to the Meadowlands. Hambletonian coming up in a while, but the Hamiltonian Oaks is just minutes away right now. We're going to join Justin Horowitz once again. He's standing by with driver Yannick Gingras. Justin.
Yannick, you've driven Maven every start this year. You've beaten Check Me Out, which not too many horses can say. How are you going to do it again today?
I mean, ideally, I'd like to have some pace to come into and follow her second over. That'd be a great spot. That'd be a place I'd like to be.
What is it about Maven that makes her the one that's able to go fast enough to stay with Check Me Out?
I mean, she's very handy and very easy on herself. Last year, she used to, she'd be a little cuckoo and try to get away from me and be a little bit grabby. But so far, so good this year. She's been driving 2 fingers. She's letting me do what I want to do with her, and that's the way she's been racing.
Well, if Maven can mind her manners, she might provide a perfect 33rd birthday present for Yannick Gingras today, guys.
That's right, Dave. I guess we should just, well, we're not going to sing happy birthday, but we'll just wish Yannick Gingras a happy 33rd birthday today. And very, very close still in the wagering between Check Me Out and Maven. And we heard from Ray Schnitker earlier. And Ray was quoted and actually stated earlier this week that Check Me Out's going to undergo an embryo transfer at the end of the year so she can be bred yet continue to race. She'll be bred to Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, 2008 Hambletonian winner, who was trained, co-owned, and actually driven by Ray Schnitker in the Hambletonian. And again, Justin asked Ray, a lot of horsemen won't even plan for next week. You're planning for the 3 or 4 years out for this great filly.
He's planning for years to come. In fact, we know that Ray Schnitger wants to race Check Me Out in the footsteps of Moneymaker, the great Moneymaker who went on that world tour and eventually competed in races over in Europe. She is always considered to be the greatest trotting filly of all time. Well, maybe Check Me Out could do that again. That embryo transfer, that's a very, controversial procedure, no doubt about that. We'll see if that works and how they plan there. But one of the decisions I think that made the big difference here for Ray Schnitger was that he has won the Hambletonian, so it's not an ego kind of a thing. Had he not been a Hambletonian winner, he won with Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe there, this decision might have been different. But he thinks he can race Check Me Out well into her 5th and 6th year. And you know what? For harness fans, that'd be a great thing.
All right, it is time for the Hamiltonian Oaks Post Parade. And what's better than a track bugler? 4 of them. Here are the All-Star Buglers.
And the Red Bulls played last night. How'd you guys do?
Here's the field. The one superstar at Hanover, Jimmy Takter, has won the Oaks 3 times as a trainer, but never as a driver.
And he'll try to do exactly the same thing in the Hamiltonian a little bit later with Guccio. This filly possesses a world of speed, but lately not the kind of stamina that could win a race like this. She weakened in last week's elimination, finishing 3rd behind Check Me Out.
Speaking of Check Me Out, number 2 is Check Me Out. And with a win here, her combined earnings at ages 2 and 3 would make her the richest trotting filly in history.
Last year's champion 2-year-old by Hambletonian winning sire Donato Hanover is back and on quite a roll of late with 6 straight victories. She set a world record 3 weeks ago in the Del Mill Memorial here and a track record in the Elegant Image in Canada. Trainer Ray Schnitger, well, it was a tough decision, but I think he made the right one, racing her in the Oaks instead of the Hambo.
Number 3, her nemesis in 2012, Maven. Driver Yannick Gingras celebrating his 33rd birthday today. And trainer Jonas Zernson hopes to celebrate his 2nd Oaks win, having won in 2005 with the upsetter Jalopy.
And she's by sire Glidemaster, also a Hamiltonian winner and clearly the biggest threat to Check Me Out today. She's the only horse to beat that filly this season in their first start back in May. Trainer Zernson says that Maven is peaking at exactly the right time. Driver Yannick Gingras, who we just heard from, is having a career year. 3 weeks ago, he won the $600,000 Meadowlands Pace with a rock and roll dance. What a birthday present it would be.
Number 4, Personal Style, co-owner Brittany Farms, bred and owned 2006 Oaks winner, Passionate Glide, currently the richest trotting filly of all time.
Here's the filly that looms as the biggest closing threat if the race sets up for a come from behind her. She has only 2 wins this year and none in her last 5 starts, but post 4 is perfect for her, and regular driver Dave Miller is a master at the patient style of driving.
Number 5, Uncommon Night. Driver George Brennan looks for back-to-back wins in the Oaks, having won with upsetter Bold and Fresh last year.
And this filly enters today's Oaks as an 0 for 19 career maiden. That means she's never won a race, yet she came storming home for 2nd behind Check Me Out in last week's elimination at odds of 40-1. That was by far the best race she's ever turned in, and her driver George Brennan has one of the best nicknames of all. We call him the Minister of Speed.
Number 6, Real Babe. Ray Schnitger has never won the Oaks before as either a trainer or driver, but as we said, captured the 2008 Hambletonian as both with Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
And this is the 2nd of trainer Ray Schnitger's entrance. He will drive himself. She cost $100,000 as a yearling. Her dad, Donato Hanover, won the Hambo, and her mom, House that Ruth built, was one of the top trotting mares of all time, banking $1.1 million.
Number 7, Win Missy B. Owner breeder Robert Key hasn't won the Oaks, but won the Hamiltonian as owner breeder in 1993 with the American winner.
And she brings the speed to the party today for trainer Charlie Norris, Brian Sears, and Key. Watch for her to burst out of the gate and potentially set the pace. She's chased Check Me Out for the better part of a year now. She did beat her last season. Sears won the Oaks 2 years ago by an inch with Broadway Schooner.
Number 8, Tremont Hanover. Breeder Hanover Shoe Farms has won the Oaks 3 times and the Hamiltonian a record 10 times.
She has arguably the best pedigree of the field. She's a full sister to the aforementioned Donato Hanover. She cost $260,000 as a yearling, but that price tag and pedigree hasn't turned into much racing success yet.
The 9 is Holier Than Thou. Yannick Gingras had driven this filly in her last 2, but he's the regular driver of Maven. So Ron Pierce takes over, and he's won 3 Oaks.
And this is the second entrant for trainer Jonas Cernison. She owns only one career stakes win at Pennsylvania Sire Stakes last month at Pocono, where she was 27-1. I wasn't exactly enthralled with her fourth place finish in last week's elimination. That came from post 2. This will be a lot harder out in post 9.
And the 10, Sassy Syrinx. No filly has ever won the Hamiltonian Oaks from post position number 10, but her mom, Syrinx Hanover, won it and was an incredible performer.
She was a great one, but this post will be very hard to overcome today. She's the only filly in the field that did not race last year at 2, and she has only one win this season.
That's the feel for the 2012 Hambletonian Oaks. Well, this is the first time we've seen Donna Brothers on horseback. She's at the top of the stretch. Donna.
Hey, Gary, we're at the Hambletonian Oaks, which means we're going to see the best 3-year-old filly trotters in the nation. But keep in mind, these are trotters, and what we want to see is them to continue to trot. We want to see them just trotting just like they're doing in the warm-up and just like my horse is doing right now. 2 of the horses have made a break this year. That's the 4 Personal Style and the 5 Uncommon Night. A break looks like this. They end up in a gallop or a run. If they do that, the drivers will need to slow them down, get them back to a trot, lose significant ground to the horses in front of them before they can get back in stride. Obviously, they're hoping not to have a break today, Gary.
All right, Donna, she looks good on the top of a horse. Well, Dave Brower gave you a guarantee. Check Me Out looks like she will be the post-time favorite. The Hambletonian Oaks coming up right after this. Welcome back, everybody. There's a crew that'll make a whole bunch of money if Sassy Syrinx from post position number 10 gets the job done here. Currently at 24-1. Or on the board. Well, 21-1, and there is a little bit of a slight discrepancy or delay right now. 24 on the board, 21 here, but nonetheless, still a big price. Everybody would get rich with that one. A couple of 50-1 shots. But Dave, you were right. Check Me Out 4-5. Maven at 8-5 currently. What's the race strategy here? I mean, Win Missy B, will she show speed from the gate? She certainly possesses a lot of it.
That might be my second guarantee of the day, that she fires out of the gate. But we're also going to see speed from number 1, Superstar Hanover and Jimmy Takter here. Both favorites, Check Me Out and Maven, like to come from slightly off the pace. It may be a simple repeat of what we saw in the Elegant Image here, where Check Me Out moves first, Maven follows her, and then we find out which of these 2 great champions will be best down the stretch.
All right, let's bring in Donna once again for some thoughts on how she sees the Oaks unfolding. Donna.
Well, I've just been watching the fillies in the warm-up, and we expected to see the 2 Check Me Out and the 3 Maven relaxed in their warm-ups, and we have seen that, so nothing unusual here. The 7 Win Missy B will get a little bit wound up as she approaches the gate, but she needs to be relaxed in this warm-up and post-braid, and she has been. If she gets a little too wound up too soon, like let's say about a furlong out from the starting gate, Dave, as you know, that's not a good sign for her.
No, it's most definitely not. And again, if she does fire out, it's difficult to get her to relax once she gets started. I'm sure you've ridden a couple of horses like that, Donna. But again, she is a filly with quality. She has beaten Check Me Out before, and it's a speed favoring day sometimes when we race during the daylight. Most of these harness races take place at night, so this is something new for some of these fillies, and we'll see how they respond to it.
There's a look at Check Me Out, of course, the first race that we showed you on the program, the Nat Ray Invitational. Tim Tetrick getting Chapter 7 home. It's been a huge year. Tim Tetrick once again for the 6th consecutive year, the leader as far as money earned seasonally. If he ends the year as the top money earner, it'll be 6 years, and he will join the likes of Billy Houghton, who did that way back in the 1950s.
It's very simple, Gary. Every year for Tim Tetrick is a big year because he's just a tremendous talent and has become one of the sport's top drivers. I spoke to him earlier this week. He said he's never gone to the bottom of the well on Check Me Out. Well, I'm not so sure. We saw that Elegant Image final. I have a feeling we're in for one heck of a matchup today. Let's get him rolling.
Fillies behind the gate for the 2012 edition of the Hambletonian Oaks. And right now we're going to once again send it up to the booth here at Meadowlands Racetrack and track announcer Ken Workington.
All right, it's post time for the Hambletonian Oaks, race 11, full field of 10. 3-year-old filly trotters lining up for race 11. $714,050, 3-5 on the 2 Check Me Out, looking for 7 in a row. At 8-5, 3 Maven looking for 4 in a row. Arch rivals side by side. Off stride the 1 Superstar Hanover, the rest on gate. Here they come. They're off in the Hamiltonian Oaks, and it's Win Missy B out fast on the outside, and Holier Than Thou. Check Me Out, the favorite, is alert from the inside and stepping out with Maven into the first turn. Check Me Out from the inside. Win Missy B out sprints her and takes the lead. Check Me Out to the outside there, and will go up to challenge with Maven third. On the move up is Holier Than Thou. From the inside comes Personal Style. Holier Than Thou fifth now. Uncommon Night is on the gallop off stride. Then it's Real Babe who avoids her to the inside, followed by Dream On Hanover and Sassy Syrinx and Superstar Hanover, who broke before the start. First quarter was just 28 seconds. Check Me Out took over. Check Me Out Maven parked out here. Win Missy B assumes that second spot. Maven now retreats back into third in the backstretch as Check Me Out is in full control. Personal Style tightens in from fourth midway on the backside. Holier Than Thou fifth on the inside. Then it's Real Babe. Back to Sassy Syrinx and Superstar Hanover, and Dream On Hanover made a break, and way back is Uncommon Night. Half was 55, 27 seconds flat. 3 to 5 favorite. Check Me Out looking for 7 straight here. Win Missy B second. Maven third on the outside. Holier Than Thou gaps on the inside fourth. Here comes Personal Style mounting in charge on the outside, following Maven as they head to three quarters. Real Babe is pinned in fifth on the rail. Sassy Syrinx sixth on the outside. Check Me Out drifts out, goes off stride. Check Me Out made an uncharacteristic break as they turn for home. Three quarters, 123 and 2. Sudden turn of events here. And on the inside, it's Win Missy B. And now on the outside, here comes Personal Style. Win Missy B. Sears working furiously on her. Dave Miller, Personal Style on the outside. Sassy Syrinx is third. And Check Me Out rallies for fourth to the wire. It's going to be tight. Personal Style on the outside. Personal Style is going to explode the top board at 55-1 over Win Missy B. Check Me Out. Sassy Syrinx 153-1 in a wild Hambletonian Oaks.
Dave, other than the call and the absolutely shocked call from track announcer Ken Warkentin, there was almost dead silence among the 25,000 here at the racetrack. First, Check Me Out makes a break. It was almost like a chain reaction. Maven shortly afterward makes a break, and we're going to take a look at this at the top of the stretch. I mean, this is why they actually race these things instead of leaving them on paper. It's a horse race. Anything can happen. If there was ever a race that proved it, it was this one.
It was, and we've had some tremendous upsets in the Hamiltonian Oaks in the past, and yes, here is another one. 55-1 is the off-time price on Personal Style. I did throw her a little love there. I told you she was the biggest closing threat if this race was going to set up for a come from behind her here. Let's see what Donna's got with Dave Miller.
Dave, first of all, congratulations on your first Hambletonian Oaks win, but I have to say, nobody expected for the top two fillies to make a break in here. Were you surprised to see that?
Oh, I was just as surprised as everybody else. I mean, the last turn when I seen Timmy's filly take off running, I was shocked. And next thing I know, Maven was running too. I was totally surprised on that.
You've driven a lot of horses. You've won a lot of races. Any insight on what could cause a filly who never really makes a break to do it at a time, such an inopportune time like this?
You know, it might have to do with the track or the footing of the track. You know, I'm not for sure the reason why she would run.
Dave, let's go back to you. You get your first Hamiltonian Oaks win. What's this mean to you?
It's very special, you know. I've driven this filly for the last couple of years, and she's progressed, you know, slowly, and we were hoping one of these days she would luck out and get there, and she sure did.
She lucked out. You were in the right place at the right time. Well done. Gary.
Well, 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 smile on the face of David Miller, but I guarantee you there's no smile on the face of Tim Tetrick or of driver Yannick Gingras, or for that matter, Ray Schnitker, who I can't even imagine what Ray was seeing, because he was sitting about fourth or fifth when he must have seen Check Me Out make a break, move to the outside, and then Maven make a break, and then actually his filly made a break as well.
And his filly was Real Babe, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. There were some epithets coming out of Ray Schnitker's mouth, no doubt about that. Some colorful words, but that's the way Ray is, and today was not Check Me Out's day.
All right, let's take another look. I mean, here it is. They've already made a couple of breaks. Maven, again, kind of maybe triggered, maybe just a domino effect. And then you'll see down on the inside, about 4th or 5th, Ray Schnitker's filly right there goes off stride as well.
Well, right here, they're coming to a tiring crawl at this point, as the slow last quarter will indicate. Win Missy B and Brian Sears have inherited the lead, and they are desperately trying to hang on. You see Dave Miller imploring Personal Style to give her everything she has, and she goes by in the shadow of the wire. The final time of 153-1 was 1 tick off the stakes record, and who knows, Gary, it's not official because we have an inquiry sign posted on the 3rd place finisher. This could be the highest win payoff in Oaks history.
Well, we'll come back and sort it all out for you. High drama and intrigue today at the Meadowlands in the Oaks. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the Meadowlands, everybody, and we rejoin you with a huge cheer from the crowd. Those were the folks that you saw earlier holding up the sign for Sassy Syrinx. Why? Well, there's a good chance, Dave Brower, that they bet her across the board, and she winds up being placed from 4th to 3rd. Why? Because number 2, Check Me Out, who was flashing on the board before we went to commercial, has been disqualified and placed 8th for interference while on a break with the 3-horse Maven.
And that interference took place at the 3/4 pole, no doubt about that. It took the judges a little while to make that determination, but here it is in video. You see her go off stride, you see Tim Tetrick try to move for clearance to the outside, and you see the chain reaction, as you called it. Maven, who was taken up by Yannick Gingras, she makes a break of her own, and the judges determined that that was interference.
Unbelievable. Right now, let's go down to Justin Horowitz for this report. Justin.
Guys, I tried to catch up with Tim Tetrick as he came off the track. Understandably, he was very upset. He simply said she made a break, and that's it. She got beat. Understandably upset. Part of the highs and the lows of the lows. A world record with Chapter 7, and then a break with the odds-on favorite Check Me Out. Guys, back to you.
The highs and lows of horse racing. Thanks, Justin. And as they say in the biz, ready to blow up the tote board, Dave?
Absolutely, Gary. $116.40 is what you got back for every $2 win ticket on Personal Style. And just in case you were wondering, no, that is not the highest win payoff in Hamiltonian Oaks history. That belongs to Working Gal from 1990. She paid $122.80.
And you know what? And the folks that bet on the Sassy Syrinx, and I'm just assuming that they did. That's her rooting section over there. If they wagered on her even to show, it's like betting to win on a 5-to-1 shot. She paid $12.60 to show.
And that's a nice ticket to cash, especially on harness racing's greatest day. We can take that and parlay it right into the Hambletonian coming up next.
Speaking of that, let's take a look at the odds for the 87th Hambletonian while we have a couple of moments here and everybody regroups. Wow, that was a shocker. Never in our wildest dreams did we expect that to happen. Coming down the stretch, yeah, maybe Maven beats Check Me Out, maybe Check Me Out beats Maven, but we never expected both of them to be nowhere in sight when all was said and done.
No, we did not, but that's why it's horse racing, and that's why we compete out on the racetrack.
The 87th Hambletonian, and Uncle Peter is still the 5-2 choice on the board. Market share 2nd and knows nothing 3rd. You know, we're looking at odds that pretty much have remained the same. Where do you think the biggest change in the odds will come?
Well, it will most likely come after the horses step out onto the racetrack. Everybody wants to take a look at their horse, finalize those decisions. You know, they've handicapped all week like you and I. We have the same information, the past performances as well. But you know what? I never made a bet until I saw my horse out on the racetrack.
And that's true whether it's thoroughbred or harness racing, any kind of horse racing. People want to see the horses out on the racetrack before they actually go to the windows. That's why if you go to the windows after the post parade, there's a chance that you might be standing in a line.
There's no doubt about that, especially on a Hambletonian day like this where we've got over 20 or 25,000 people. You have to scout out your window to go and make your bet, the ones with the smallest lines.
All right, we've got plenty of great action for you coming your way. The Hambletonian 87th edition is next, and we will see great racing action throughout the day.
We will, and we want to set everybody ready for the 87th Hamiltonian by showing you the 3 eliminations that took place last Saturday. Why? Because they're very, very important to show, and they were all won in very different ways. So let's start with the first one. It was all about Uncle Peter, who has made 3 moves to this point. He trots home smoothly and on his own, according to Ron Pierce. They went 153-3. Money on My Mind was second. Prestidigitator was third. Pierce said he had plenty left in the tank. Well, here's market share, and this is what we call the dream trip of a lifetime. He rockets past Archangel out of the 2-hole. This was the fastest of the 3 eliminations, 152-2. You see Archangel, the pace setter, who will hold second, and a long shot, Jim Tan Laundry, will be third. Our third and final elimination. Look for nose nothing there between horses. The Red Sea is going to part, and watch the Colt explode on through to win over Ralliers Guccio and My MVP. The time for this race was 153-1, and Gary, for a first trip over the Big M Strip, that was pretty impressive.
And a look at Archangel. We mentioned at the top of the show that this 3-year-old is the only one in the field with a chance to win this year's trotting Triple Crown, as he won the Yonkers Trot, Hamiltonian second leg, and the Kentucky Futurity the third leg. Right now back down to Justin, who's standing by with Archangel's trainer, Peter Aragena. Justin.
Guys, forget Tebow Mania. Right now in a small upstate New York town, it's Archie Mania with Peter Aragena. He's been the talk of church every Sunday morning. He brought a busload of people down from upstate New York. What's life been like as the trainer of Archangel?
Well, it's been kind of, you know, a good ride with him, and you know, he's brought me down here the first time, and you know, this week he just jogged nice and easy, and it was pretty simple week with him.
This is by far the best horse you've ever had. Alan Hainsworth lives about 20 minutes from you. He's the owner of this horse, and yet it took him 30 years to get you to train one. How did you guys finally hook up together?
Well, I finally got my construction company to kind of go to the side and had more time to spend with the horses. So, you know, when you start bringing horses in, you got to get the responsibility of having a full-time job with it. So that's what happened.
Guys, if Archangel wins the Hambletonian, there'll be plenty to talk about in church tomorrow morning back in upstate New York.
One of the more fascinating and inspiring stories today here at the Hambletonian. Right now, let's go over to Donna Brothers for this report. Donna.
Well, Gary, many of our viewers recognize us from thoroughbred racing, but I've been covering the Hambletonian for the last few years now, and I've really grown to appreciate some subtle differences between the thoroughbreds and the harness horses. For one thing, they stay sounder while racing much more often and for many more years on average than thoroughbreds, so we really get to know the horses better. They're also very consistent and formful, making their races somewhat easier to handicap. And here's a really cool element. Their drivers can range in age from 18 to 65 and range in weights from 100 to 200 pounds. But don't be fooled. Just because the drivers are not riding the horses does not mean that they're not using great horsemanship. They're simply communicating all of their intentions through 2 long driving lines, using subtle communication from their hands to the horse's mouth. They don't have the luxury of using any body signals from their legs or shifting their body weight like jockeys do, but they do use their body motion in the final furlong to sort of propel the race bike forward in stride with their horse.
Market share has it, and market share has won it from
Gary, the very best drivers use a skill set of great hands with great horsemanship, and they also have to use some rhythm. These are the very best drivers, and these are the drivers we're going to see in the Hambletonian Stakes.
Donna, thanks, and also the very best 3-year-old trotters in the world going after the Hambletonian Trophy. The post parade is coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, let's join the all-star buglers for the call to the post for the Hambletonian. 1, 2, 3. Time to take a look at the field for the 87th edition of the Hambletonian. And we start with the one Uncle Peter, driver Ron Pierce, and trainer Jimmy Takter teamed up to win the 2010 Hambletonian with Muscle Massive.
And he enters the Hambo with 8 wins from 12 lifetime starts, including 3 straight. He made 3 moves in last week's dominating elimination victory. At the post draw on Tuesday, trainer Jimmy Takter called this horse the most naturally gifted horse he's ever been around.
Next up, the 2 market share, a bargain $16,000 yearling going for a purse of $1.5 million here. The stuff dreams are made of.
He was fastest last week, but he hasn't had much luck in finals this year, finishing 3rd in the Yonkers Trot, 5th in the Good Times, and 7th in the Dexter Cup. Tim Tetrick has been the money-winningest driver each of the last 5 seasons, but he's yet to hoist the Hambletonian trophy. He came close in 2008.
Number 3 knows nothing. Canada's leading driver and trainer of 2011 are looking for their first Hamiltonian win and their 2nd try since 2009.
And he has quite a story too. He was taken out of a yearling sale as a baby. He had a bone chip removed at 2 and didn't race, but burst onto the scene this year, winning 7 of 8. I must say, Gary, his elimination here last week impressed everybody, me included.
We heard from Peter Aragena, the 4 Archangel, by virtue of his Yonkers Trot win, is the only horse in the field with a chance to win this year's trotting Triple Crown.
And he's also the leading money winner in the field this year. Trainer and co-owner Pete Aragena is from Western New York. He'd never even been to the Meadowlands before last week's elimination. The horse is so popular that a bus full of well-wishers has traveled all the way from Avon, New York, just to root him on.
Number 5, my MVP. This is trainer Tony Alagna's first Hamiltonian finalist, but driver Mike LaChance has won this race 4 times.
And my MVP finished a fast-closing 3rd last week at odds of 20-1. You talk about Hall of Famer Mike LaChance, Iron Mike we call him. He's 61 years old and he still has the record for the biggest payoff in Hambo history. Amigo Hall paid $57 to win back in 2003.
Number 6, Prestidigitator, the 2nd of 2 Canadian invaders in the field, will be driven by Sylvain Filion, who's the only driver in this race, this year's race, making his Hamiltonian debut.
And Prestidigitator is a Michigan bred that cost $120,000 as a yearling. He suffered through a hellacious wide trip in last week's elimination. Trainer Dustin Jones has been to the Hambletonian before, back in 2000 with You Had a Dream, and driver Sylvain Filion has the bloodlines. He's the nephew of Hervé Filion.
Number 7, Guccio, the 2nd of 2 horses in here for 2-time Hamiltonian winning trainer Jimmy Takter, who would love to win this race as a driver for the first time.
Guccio stormed home for 2nd in both the Stanley Dancer Memorial and last week's elimination. Takter could become the first trainer to win the Hambletonian the very same year he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, but he hasn't driven in the big one since 2003.
Number 8, Stormin Normand. Dave Pallone became the winningest driver in North American history on July 5th of this year with victory number 15,181.
And he's been worse than 2nd only once in 13 lifetime races, but that was in the elimination last week. We'll see if he can bounce back, but there are positives. Jim Campbell, his trainer, won the Hambo with Tagliabue in 1995, and for Dave Pallone, this is just his 2nd appearance in harness racing's greatest race.
Number 9, Money on My Mind, aptly named for sure, as owner Barry Goriglia is the senior vice president of wealth management at Morgan Stanley Smith Barney.
He goes to the gate for harness racing's best husband-wife team. That's Andy and Julie Miller. They've had great success with trotters like 2009 champion Lucky Jim. They've been to the Hambo before twice, but without hitting the board. Will Andy Miller leave? Well, this is what he said. He said, I'll look to my left just before the start and make up my mind.
And number 10, Jim Tan Laundry rounding out the field. Last year's winning Hamiltonian Connections, teaming up here, and trainer Noel Daly and driver George Brennan.
That's true, Gary, but no, this is not Jersey Shore, and Mike the Situation Sorrentino isn't here today to help. Jim Tan Laundry hasn't won a race this year. He's stuck out in Post 10, which has never won a Hambletonian since it moved to the Meadowlands in 1981. You know what that means. He might need a cab to get to the winner's circle.
All right. Well, we've got a great field of 10, wide open race. The 87th Hambletonian is coming up in just a moment. The 87th Hamiltonian final is just moments away. Who will capture the ultimate prize on the biggest day in the sport? Will it be morning line favorite Uncle Peter or stablemate Guccio? A powerful 1-2 punch for trainer Jimmy Takter as the newly minted Hall of Famer goes for his 3rd Hamiltonian win. Or will David slay Goliath in the form of trainer and co-owner Peter Aragena, whose small stable boasts a big star in Archangel? Will it be Canadian Invader Knows Nothing or yet another limb winner, Market Share? One thing is certain. Split-second decisions by the sport's top drivers could mean the difference between victory and defeat. The discussion and debate is over. It's time for the Hambletonian. And Dave Brower, Being a morning line odds maker for 16 years, you are well aware of the fact that those odds right now are pretty darn close to the morning line, and that's exactly the way they're supposed to be.
They are right in line with Darren Zaccali's morning line, so I want to give him a little on-air credit as well. Uncle Peter is the favorite, but he's not that much lower than his morning line price of 5-2. That 9-5 is just about where he should be. The second choice is Knows Nothing, and that is his morning line price at 7-2. We knew it would be close as to who would be the third choice, whether it be Market Share or Archangel, and it's just a few dollars that separates those two.
Let's bring Donna Brothers in for a quick comment, how she sees the Hambletonian final. Donna.
Guys, earlier you talked about the fact that people wait to place their wagers until they see them in the warm-up. By my eye, if they've waited to see these horses in the warm-up today, I think they're going to place their wagers on the 1, Uncle Peter, and the 6, Prestidigitator. They've looked the best to me in the warm-ups today, guys.
All right, Donna, thanks so much. Quickly, Dave, race strategy.
Race strategy, Archangel. Jim Morrill Jr. from Post 4 should fire out of the gate. After that, it will be up to Ron Pierce to decide what he wants to do with the favorite Uncle Peter. Will he move to the front, or will he be content to sit? As long as I've known Ron Pierce, he wants to be in front here, so look for him to set the pace and try to hold on in the Hambletonian.
3 of the last 4 Hambo winners have come from post position number 1. 4 of the last 5 won their eliminations, and the last 5 winners were no worse than third at any point in the race. You can hear the thundering hooves. This is harness racing's biggest race. It's the $1.5 million Hambletonian, calling his 13th edition of this race, Ken Warkentin.
All right, here we go. It's post time for the 12th race, the 87th Hamiltonian, $1.5 million. 8-5 favorite on the rail, Uncle Peter. And at 3-1, the 3 Knows Nothing. 3-year-old trotters on gate for the Hambletonian. Race 12, here they come. And the Rothman trotting, Jim Tan Laundry trying to leave on the outside with Storm and Normand flashing speed. Archangel out fast, and the favorite Uncle Peter from the rails steps out into the first turn from post 10, Jim Tan Laundry. And Jim Tan Laundry takes the lead, and out swooped Uncle Peter into the first turn. Archangel's on the move up with Jim Morrill Jr. Aggressive early. Market Share 4th on the inside. Knows Nothing is 5th. Storm and Normand is parked out 6th past the quarter. Then it's My MVP, followed by Prestidigitator. Sluggish early is Guccio, and then Money on My Mind. 27-2 in the backstretch. Archangel, the Yonkers Trot World Champion, takes the lead. Here comes the favorite, Uncle Peter. Uncle Peter's on the move up there, the elimination winner. Sweeps up and grabs the lead. Jim Tan Laundry, last year's winner, George Brennan, in the 3rd position, nearing the half mile. Market Share is 4th. To the outside goes Know Nothing 5th. Knows Nothing is tipping to the outside and trying to flush Market Share here. My MVP shoots the gap and advances several stages. Then it's Storm and Normand to the outside, and Prestidigitator with Money on My Mind and Guccio. They have 54 and 3/5, 27-1. Uncle Peter's the one to reel in near. It's Uncle Peter with Market Share on the outside coming up to challenge. Archangel gaps that pocket with Knows Nothing. 4th on the outside, gapping cover, still within striking range. Jim Tan Laundry 5th on the inside. My MVP is 6th. Guccio has to come 3 wide. Around a failing Storm and Normand as they turn for home. It's Uncle Peter. Here comes Market Share. 122 and 3 in the stretch of the Hambletonian. And Market Share powers to the top with Tim Tetrick. Market Share. Uncle Peter can't trot with him. Guccio up on the far outside. My MVP is closing hard. It's Market Share who needs the line. Guccio, My MVP closing. Gonna be tight. Market Share holds on. Market Share, Tim Tetrick, Linda Toscano win the Hambletonian in 152-1.
If that is not sweet redemption, and you can see it in the body movement of driver Tim Tetrick after that incredible loss. Check me out, making a break in the Oaks, and here Market Share at 4-1 grabs this year's Hambletonian after a tough first over grind.
A great example of the little horse that could. His trainer, Linda Toscano, said that he needs a trip to win. Well, he didn't get one today. He grinded it out up on the outside all of the final half. He put away Uncle Peter in deep stretch, and with the cajoling of Tim Tetrick, was able to dig in and hold off. Gary, I do believe Market Share won the race, but it's very, very close for second between number 5, My MVP, and number 7, Guccio. that's going to take the photo finish camera to separate. First Hambletonian win for Tim Tetrick, the first female trainer, Linda Toscano, to win the Hambletonian. Stories don't get any better than that.
Let's take a look at Linda Toscano. Again, as Dave pointed out, the first female trainer to win the Hamiltonian. And, you know, she can't even look at the top of the stretch. She's hiding from our cameras. And she's just absolutely thrilled. You know what? She joins Jimmy Takter as the trainer to win both the Nat Ray, which she did with Chapter 7 earlier, and the Hambletonian, which she just did with Market Share in the same day. It's an incredible accomplishment. And there's a look at Market Share. He is currently with Donna Brothers. Donna.
Tim just said to me, I congratulated him. He said it should have been both of them, but this is a little bit of sweet redemption. Yeah, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. It's a dream come true. I never thought I'd ever get to race in the Hamiltonian, let alone win it. I'm very emotional right now.
Tim, you're very humble. This has been a meteoric career rise for you over the last 6 years. This is your first Hambletonian win, but you've done everything else. You had to have expected this at some point.
Well, sooner or later, but when I was a kid dreaming of being a catch driver, I never thought this would ever happen. So, you know, thanks for everybody that stood behind me. It's just great.
Is this win subdued a touch with disappointment from the Oaks race?
It makes up for it, but it's for the connections. You know, I feel so bad for checking me out. She is a great, great animal.
Market Share's been pretty unlucky in the major stakes finals this year. What changed for him in this race today?
Well, you know, he made his own race. You know, they went speed up front, and I pulled him first up, and he marched all the way up there. You know, he gave me 110%, and Linda and the crew's done a great job with it.
Speaking of Linda, this makes her the first female to win a Hambletonian as a trainer. What do you want to say to her?
Not only is she a great trainer, she's a good friend, and she's such a great person. I'm so happy for her.
Well done, Tim. Gary.
All right, Donna, congratulations to Tim Tetrick. Sweet redemption indeed. His sixth start in the Hambo, his first win. He was second in 2008 with Crazed. When we come back, we'll have the prices, the official order of finish, and the winner's circle presentation. Market Share wins the Hambletonian. Welcome back to the 87th Hambletonian. Market Share. What an incredible performance. There is a look. And we'll take another look, Dave, from the top of the stretch. If you would have told me after going a first over trip like he did that he would have made it to the winner's circle, I probably would have booked your bet.
I still can't believe it. He shows incredible grittiness here after that three-quarter pole time. He puts away Uncle Peter, and there's nose nothing with Jody Jamieson. He's empty, but watch Tim Tetrick. He's asking for everything that Market Share has here, and he's going to barely hold on over those two late closers. Very tight photo for second there. It goes to number 7, Guccio, over the 5, my MVP.
And you know what, Dave? Market Share has been unlucky in finals after winning eliminations. Well, he won his elim last week. It looked like he was going to be unlucky again with the first over trip, but he holds on by the slimmest of margins.
He sure does, and I'm glad he was able to hold on. It's one of the feel-good stories of the Hambletonian. And it's a good day to be owner Richard Gutnick, no doubt about that. He took the Nat Ray earlier, and earlier this week he sold a share of Market Share to the new owners, the TLP Stables and Bill Augenstein. What a nice time to buy in. That $16,000 yearling buy for Gutnick has turned into a Hambletonian champion.
All right, a couple of horses I want to find out what was up with them, what happened. Well, knows nothing, looked like he was in a perfect position, second over trip, but he was gapping that cover, and he really came up empty.
He really did. A bad day to have a bad day, no question about that. Prestidigitator, we never saw him in the outer tier. Uncle Peter, he was decisive with his move to the front, but he faded, and Money on My Mind was never in it.
And now for the winner's circle presentation, let's go down to the Meadowlands. Sam McKee. Sam.
Well, thank you very much, Gary. It's time now to present the greatest trophy in harness racing, the Sterling Silver Revere Bowl, signifying victory in the Hambletonian. Jeff Garrell, the chairman of the New Meadowlands Racetrack, is here. Tom Charters, president and CEO of the Hamiltonian Society. Winning owner Richard Gutnick, who's had a heck of a day. The lieutenant governor of the state of New Jersey, Kim Guadagno. New York Red Bulls coach Hans Baki, and Assemblyman Ronnie Dancer. Tom, pick up the trophy if you will. And Lieutenant Governor, a great race and a great day for the state of New Jersey.
Just a fabulous opportunity. I just want to say on behalf of the governor of the state of New Jersey and everybody here from New Jersey, congratulations on winning the world's most significant harness race and the largest purse in the state of New Jersey. Congratulations.
Richard Gutnick, you were probably in shock after Chapter 7's world record. What were you thinking coming down the stretch watching Market Share?
Well, I wasn't in shock with Chapter 7, but here I thought we were one of 5 or 6 who could win. And I was just hoping he was holding on. I you know, I didn't know what was going to happen there.
Well, congratulations, Richard. You have won the 2012 Hambletonian. Gary, back to you.
All right, Sam, thanks so much. A very happy group in the winner's circle. No surprise. And as we said, for that man there, Tim Tetrick, I mean, he must have been feeling absolute despair. And as he told Donna out on the racetrack, he still feels very bad for the connections of Check Me Out. For him personally, he comes away with a win in a race he had never won before, the Hambletonian, the sport's biggest race. And it does, in fact, put him in a great position to make it 6 consecutive years as the sport's leading money earner.
Can Tim Tetrick become the new best harness driver of all time? Well, this is the kind of race that definitely proves that, and it also shows you that dreams can come true. You can buy a horse at a yearling sale for just $16,000, and you know what? That little horse, Market Share, just won the richest horse race of the summer, thoroughbred or harness. Dreams come true.
And, you know, there's a song that addresses dreaming the impossible dream. Linda Toscano said the fact that, you know, making it in the Hamble last year was a dream. The fact that she was in it 2 years in a row was an impossible dream. The dream is no longer impossible. The dream is alive.
Linda Toscano is one of the best developers of horseflesh that I've ever met. I call her a personal friend. It couldn't happen to a better person.
And a look at the floral arrangement for the 2012 Hambletonian. Market Share wears it. The winner of the 87th Hambletonian is Market Share. For Dave Brower, Justin Horowitz, and Donna Brothers, I'm Gary Seibel. Thanks for joining us. For scores, highlights, features, and more, go to CBS.com.